Hi, it's time for another verb of the day. Today's verb is fasten. Let's take a moment and look at some of the definitions or the ways that we use this verb. The first way you might encounter the verb fasten is to mean to be closed or done up in a particular manner. A second way the verb fasten gets used is to mean to close or connect something securely. And a third way to use the verb fasten is to mean to fix or hold something in place. As you can see with all three of these definitions, we're talking about securing something. I picked out a little picture that I thought might help illustrate this. So I'm going to highlight here and direct our attention right there. We can see that connection, or we could say the ropes are fastened to that particular stick or pole. Another way this verb gets used many times is when people direct you to fasten your seatbelt, right? They want you to close it or connect it. And again, that generally makes you secure or safer. You should know that the verb fasten is a regular verb. To make the progressive form, all you need to do is add ing to form fastening. The past tense and participle forms of this verb can be made by just adding ed. Now, our base verb, fasten, right, ends with an in sound. That's a voiced sound in English. And this means that the ed ending is just going to make a d sound. We're not going to add an extra syllable as we say it. So the past tense and the participle forms should sound like this: fastened, fastened. Okay. Now, this verb actually gets used as a phrasal verb quite frequently. So we're going to focus our discussion today on some of those different phrasal verb meanings. The first one we'll look at is to fasten down. Many times we use this to note that we're describing an action where we're attaching or connecting something to something else. An example of this might be fasten down the flooring boards at each end. Okay. Many times when we think about fasten down, I think there's an idea that we're attaching or connecting something at a ground or a floor level. So my example sentence here is an example of an imperative, a command. So if you work in construction or you're doing a construction project with someone else, they might give this command to kind of tell you the next step or the next thing you're supposed to do. Another phrasal verb you might encounter is to fasten into. Many times we use this to mean that we're securing someone or something in a particular space. An example of this: will you fasten the baby into her car seat? So that's that idea of connecting. Usually with babies, we have not just one connection point, but several. They're so tiny and we're trying to keep them secure in their car seats as they're traveling. So will you fasten the baby into is an example of the simple future. Our next phrasal verb is to fasten off. This is used very specific in crocheting or knitting. And so it's when you're kind of closing the tails of pieces of yarn together so that they don't unravel or become loose. An example of this. Lastly, fasten off the yarn and secure it. This is another imperative sentence. We might see this in directions on how to knit or crochet something. Next phrasal verb we'll discuss is to fasten on. And the way this verb gets used is to move our eyes or our gaze, the way we're looking at something, or maybe even our thoughts, our mind, intently at someone or something. Right? So here we're really talking about kind of focusing how we're looking at someone or something, or how we're directing all of our thoughts in our mind. An example of this might be, the babysitter fastened on the children while at the park, right? So here we're not describing somebody who's maybe looking at their cell phone, then looking over at the children, right? That babysitter had her or his eyes focused on the children that they were responsible for watching. Let's continue looking at some more phrasal verbs. The next one we'll discuss is to fasten onto. This can mean to grip or hold something in a really sort of tight and secure way. An example of this. The child fastened onto his dad's leg and would not let go. Here's another simple past tense sentence, and I think maybe you can imagine a small child kind of wrapping their arms around their father's leg, right, and not loosening that grip. Another phrasal verb you might encounter is to fasten up. This generally means that we are closing or joining two parts of something. An example of this. Can you fasten up this necklace? This might be used to make a request of someone. Another phrasal verb we might encounter is to fasten upon. This can mean to single someone or something out and really just concentrate or, again, focus on that particular person or thing. An example of this. Critics of the court have fastened upon a single paragraph that they believe has flawed reasoning. So here we're starting out, kind of imagine a legal opinion where judges have written kind of a long passage or many passages explaining why they're making a particular decision. Now we have a group of people that do not agree. Those are our critics, right? And they are really, really focusing on one paragraph. Again, this could be many, many pages of text, but they're singling this single paragraph out and saying, this is our problem. There is a mistake here, and maybe in their opinion, it makes the rest of it no good. One last phrasal verb for us to discuss today, and that is to fasten with. Again, this can mean to close something securely. An example of this. She fastened the dress with safety pins until she could mend it later. Okay. Maybe something like this has happened to you where a button, maybe a zipper, something is broken, but to close it, you might use a little safety pin or other item to secure it until it can be fixed later. That last example sentence, she fastened the dress with, is a good example, again, of the simple past tense. I think I forgot to mention on the last one, the court decision, have fastened upon. That is an example of the present perfect. Okay. Now let's move on. And today I just have a single related word for us, and that's the word fastener. This can be used to describe some type of device that closes or secures something. An example of this. The fastener manufacturer will build a new facility in Michigan next year. So there are companies that specialize in making or producing different things that can help close or secure things. Again, you might find these in articles of your clothing. We might hear the word fastener to describe something that's helping close or secure pants. That could be one good example. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you have a great day.